The great hall of the Galactic Council was a place of power and fear. 1,000 alien eyes watched from high seats made of silver and light. The hall itself floated above the capital world of Vorith Prime, the heart of the Galactic Council. Every empire, every species, every world had a voice here, but today all those voices were united against one. At the center of the hall stood Admiral Marcus Hale, a tall human with gray eyes and a calm face. Around him, the air shimmered with quiet tension. His image was broadcast to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Every alien citizen, from frozen moons to molten cities, could see this one human standing alone. Admiral Marcus Hale of Earth, said the council speaker, a tall creature with golden skin and a voice like breaking glass. You stand accused of war crimes against the Galactic Compact, the destruction of the Theris 7 colony. 3 million dead. The words echoed through the vast chamber. Marcus did not move. His hands were behind his back, his face unreadable. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm but steady, the kind of calm that hides a storm. Humanity had no part in that attack, he said. Our ships were never near Theris 7th. Someone else did this. Laughter rippled through the alien seats. A reptilian counselor hissed, "Lies. The humans always lie. Violence is in your nature. You fight, you spread, you destroy." Another alien, tall and insectoid, clicked its mandibles. "Your kind has always been a danger. The council gave you mercy once. It was a mistake." Marcus's eyes swept across the chamber. He could see it in hatred, fear, jealousy. Humanity had grown fast in the past century. Too fast for the others' comfort. They had mastered technology, explored deep space, and built alliances. The old powers did not like it. He spoke again. "If humanity truly wanted war, you would have already seen it. But we came here to build peace, to share knowledge. You think strength means violence. We think strength means choice." The council speaker struck the floor with his glowing staff. "Enough! Evidence stands against you. Your ships carry the same energy signature found on Theris 7. Your people refuse to answer questions. Humanity's seat on this council is hereby suspended." The chamber erupted in sound. Cheers, anger, and fear all mixed together. Marcus looked up at the grand circle of alien faces. For the first time, something sharp flashed in his eyes. "You're making a mistake," he said quietly, "and it will cost you." Before the speaker could respond, the lights flickered. The massive screens around the hall turned to static. A loud hum filled the air, deep, powerful, unnatural. Then a voice came through the static, a human voice. "This is Commander Elena Rios. If anyone can hear me, Theris 7th was not destroyed by humans. They lied. The truth is buried under the Council's orders." The image cut to a shaky video. A woman in a burned uniform stood inside a broken station. Behind her, strange insectoid shapes moved in the smoke. "They attacked us. The Zelari, they did this. Not humanity." Gasps filled the hall. Council members shouted, confused and afraid. The speaker shouted, "Cut the transmission! Block it!" The screen went black. For a moment there was only silence. The council members stared at each other, uncertain. Marcus felt his heart pounding, not in fear but in cold understanding. The truth had just slipped through, and they were going to bury it again. The speaker's voice rose above the chaos. "This is manipulation. Human trickery. Arrest him." Armed guards appeared from both sides of the hall. Their armor gleamed under the lights. Marcus didn't move. As they grabbed his arms, he looked directly at the council speaker. His voice was low, steady, and dangerous. "You've crossed the line. You think this is justice, but it's fear. You've judged us without proof, and now you'll face what comes next." The guards dragged him away. The chamber's lights returned to normal, but the silence remained heavy. Across the galaxy, countless watchers whispered in fear. Some said the humans were finished. Others said this was only the beginning, and deep within the cold dark of space, far from the council's eyes, ships began to move, silent, black, and human. The prison cell was small, cold, and silent. Admiral Marcus Hale sat on the metal bench, staring at the wall. The faint hum of the Galactic Council station echoed through the air. Somewhere above him, hundreds of alien leaders were still shouting about what had happened in the hall. He knew what they were doing, twisting the truth again. The transmission from Commander Elena Rios had shaken them. The Council couldn't let that truth spread. They would erase the message, destroy the evidence, and call it a technical glitch. But Marcus also knew something else. If that signal reached the Council once, it could reach Earth again. Far away, beyond the shining core worlds, the blue planet called Earth was already listening. In the deep tunnels of the Terran Defense Command, hundreds of human technicians worked without rest. They had intercepted the same strange signal, broken, scattered through light years of static. On their screens, the image of Commander Rios appeared again, flickering, full of noise. Theris 7. Attacked, not humans, Council knew. Zelari behind. The rest was lost. General Liana Torres, commander of the Terran Defense Fleet, stood behind the technicians. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with focus. "Can we clean the signal?" she asked. "Trying, ma'am," one of the engineers said quickly. "It's buried in distortion. But the data pattern, it's definitely from Theris 7. Liana clenched her fists. "That's proof. We warned them the Zelari were experimenting with forbidden weapons. They ignored us. And now they blame us." She looked at the glowing star map on the wall, the great spiral of the galaxy dotted with human colonies. The Galactic Council had ordered every member world to isolate humanity, cut off trade and close all borders. Humanity was now alone, but not helpless. Meanwhile, back on Vorith Prime, Marcus sat in silence as the door to his cell opened. A young alien guard, small and nervous, entered. His blue skin shimmered under the light. He looked around, then whispered, "Admiral, you must listen. I saw the signal. It was real." Marcus turned slowly. "You believe me?" The guard nodded quickly. "I serve the Council, but I also serve truth. They ordered me to destroy all data copies, but I made one. I hid it." He pulled out a small crystal data chip glowing faintly green. Marcus stared at it, his expression unreadable. "Why help me?" The guard hesitated. "Because my home was saved by humans once. When the plague came, your doctors helped us. My people owe you." Before Marcus could respond, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the corridor. "Security breach," a voice shouted through the speakers. "Contain the human!" The guard panicked. "They know." He pressed the chip into Marcus's hand. "Keep it safe." The door burst open. Energy weapons filled the air with blue light. Marcus dove aside, rolling behind the bench. He hit a hidden panel on the floor, emergency manual release, and a small vent opened behind him. He crawled through the narrow passage, heart pounding. The alarms grew louder. He could hear shouts behind him. When he finally reached the end of the vent, he pushed out onto a maintenance platform overlooking the city of Vorith Prime. Towers of light stretched to the clouds. Ships moved between them like fireflies. Marcus looked down at the chip in his hand. It pulsed gently, glowing as if alive. Somewhere inside it was the truth about Theris 7, the proof that could save humanity. He whispered, "Elena, I won't let your voice be silenced again." Then he activated his wrist communicator. "This is Hale, code Black Phoenix. Send extraction." Static answered him, then a faint human voice. "Copy that, Admiral. We're coming for you." A sleek black shuttle uncloaked in the sky. It swooped down fast, invisible to most sensors. Guards fired from below, but the craft dodged effortlessly. Marcus jumped onto a low beam and ran toward the ship. Energy blasts exploded around him. The metal shook. He leapt the last gap, catching the shuttle's ramp as it pulled away from the tower. Hands grabbed him and pulled him inside. "Welcome back, sir," said the pilot, a woman with short hair and a calm smile. Marcus took a deep breath. "Set course for the edge of Council space. We are going home." The ship roared into the dark sky, vanishing into faster-than-light travel. Far behind them, the Council's leaders met in secret. The speaker's voice was cold. "Humanity will not be allowed to spread lies. If they resist, we will crush them completely." But none of them noticed the pattern forming across the void. Small human ships disappearing from colonies, gathering in silence. Humanity was no longer speaking in words. It was preparing to speak in fire. Space was silent. It always had been, and cold, empty, endless. But somewhere in the deep dark between the stars, humanity was whispering again. Months had passed since Admiral Marcus Hale escaped from Vorith Prime. The Galactic Council declared him a traitor and placed a bounty on his head. They told every world that humanity had turned against peace. But no one had seen a human fleet since then. Not one ship. Not one transmission. It was as if Earth had vanished into the shadows of space. The alien powers celebrated. They believed humanity was finished. But those who listened carefully heard something different. Rumors, whispers, ghost signals moving through the void. Entire patrols vanishing without a trace. The galaxy was changing, and it was afraid. On a frozen moon near the border of Council space, a single base stood hidden beneath the ice. Its lights glowed dimly, showing the symbol of Earth, a blue circle surrounded by 12 stars. Inside, Admiral Hale stood before a massive holographic map. Red lines marked the Council's territories. Blue dots showed human fleets scattered across the galaxy, fleets that no longer answered to the Council. General Liana Torres entered, her uniform heavy with frost. "All ships are in position," she said. 17 fleets, 250 stealth cruisers, and the Leviathan-class flagship is ready. Marcus nodded slowly. "And the message? We've sent the warning to every colony. We stand down. Stay silent. Wait for the signal." He turned to look at the map again. Each blue dot pulsed faintly like stars waiting to awaken. "Good," he said quietly. "They wanted to erase us. Now we erase their fear of us and replace it with respect." Liana gave him a long look. "You mean vengeance?" Marcus didn't answer right away. His gaze was distant, thoughtful. "When they killed 3 million innocents on Theris 7 and blamed us, they made vengeance inevitable. But this isn't about revenge. This is about survival. Humanity doesn't bow anymore." In the darkness of space, human ships moved like ghosts. Their new technology, shadow drives, made them invisible to sensors. They slipped between worlds unseen. They watched, recorded, waited. One such ship, Horizon's Edge, hovered silently above a mining world run by the Zalari, the same species seen in the destroyed Theris 7 video. Inside the command deck, Captain Rios, Elena's brother, Captain Daniel Rios, stared at the planet below. "They think we're gone," he said softly. His second officer nodded. "Orders, sir?" Daniel smiled faintly. "We don't strike yet. We let them see the ghost in the dark. Fear is a weapon too." He activated the ship's stealth beacon. A faint pulse spread through space, invisible to most sensors, but strong enough for the Zalari to feel it. Down on the planet, alarms blared. The Zalari panicked. "Something's out there," they screamed. But when they scanned the skies, there was nothing. Only the cold stars staring back. For weeks, this happened again and again across different systems. Alien patrols vanished. Freighters disappeared between jump gates. And always in the silence that followed, a single message appeared in their data logs. "Do not cross the line again." Humanity. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Councillors shouted in fear. Reports came in from every corner of the galaxy. Attacks that left no survivors, no evidence, no explanation. "It must be pirates," one shouted. "No," said another, trembling. "It's them. It's the humans. They're still out there." The council speaker slammed the table. "Impossible. Their fleets were scattered. Earth has no army left." But deep down they all knew the truth. Humanity had never stopped building. They had only gone silent to prepare. Back in the hidden base, Admiral Hale watched the council broadcasts. The aliens' voices were full of fear now. Liana entered the command room. "The council is asking for a summit. They want to talk." Marcus gave a short, humorless laugh. "Now they want peace?" "No, not yet. Not until they understand what crossing the line truly means." He turned toward the window. Outside, the flagship Leviathan drifted through the stars. A massive vessel made of black steel, its engines glowing like a sleeping beast. Hale whispered, "When they finally see us again, it will be too late." He clenched his fist, eyes burning with quiet rage. "Humanity doesn't beg for mercy," he said. "We become the reason others learn the meaning of it." The camera zooms out, the frozen moon glowing faintly beneath a sea of stars. In the distance, the first human fleet begins to move, silent, precise, unstoppable. The wrath in the shadows had begun. The galaxy had gone quiet, too quiet. For months, trade convoys moved in fear. Fleets traveled in tight formation, and every world whispered the same words. "The humans are coming back." No one had seen them, yet everyone felt their presence. It was like watching the night sky and knowing a storm was forming beyond the stars. On the edge of the Council's territory, a fleet of merchant ships was traveling through the Dara system. 6 freighters escorted by 3 Zalari warships. Their leader, Admiral Tovan, watched the blackness of space with tired eyes. "Scanners clear?" he asked. "Nothing, sir," replied the officer. "No ships, no signals," Tavan nodded. "Good. Maybe the rumors are just—" Before he could finish, the lights flickered. The radar flashed white. Every system screamed warnings. "Contact! Unknown vessel emerging from FTL." The bridge crew froze. A massive shape appeared ahead, dark, sharp, silent. No engine flares, no identification code, and then on the side of that black ship a single blue symbol glowed into life. The mark of Earth. "By the stars," Tovan whispered. "Yeah, it's them." The unknown vessel moved like a shadow. In seconds, its weapons locked. Red beams of light slashed across the void. The first Zilari cruiser exploded into fire. "Evasive maneuvers," Tovan shouted. "Return fire! Return fire!" But their shots hit nothing. The human ship's shield flickered, absorbing every blast. Then it vanished again, cloaked by invisible technology. Seconds later, it reappeared behind them. One more blast. Another Zilari ship gone. Tavan screamed, "Who are you? What do you want?" A voice came through the comms, cold and calm, a human voice. "We warned you once. You crossed the line. Now you learn what that means." The last thing Tovan saw before his ship exploded was the blue glow of Earth's insignia burning through the smoke. Across the galaxy, similar stories spread like wildfire. Here, Council fleet destroyed at the Vaughan Belt, a pirate station wiped out near the rim, and always the same words left behind. Humanity remembers. The Galactic Council tried to hide the truth, but fear cannot be contained. The smaller species began to question their leaders. What if the humans were right? They asked. What if the Council lied? Inside the Grand Hall, the speaker shouted over the chaos. "Enough, we will crush them before this rebellion spreads." "But where are they?" cried another councillor. "Their ships appear and vanish like ghosts. How do you fight an enemy you can't even see?" No one had an answer. Meanwhile, in deep space, the Leviathan moved like a living mountain through the stars. Inside its command deck, Admiral Marcus Hale stood before the vast viewing glass. The stars stretched endlessly beyond, cold and beautiful. "Report," he said. Captain Daniel Rios turned from his console. 3 Council fleets neutralized. No civilian casualties. "We've hit their supply routes, destroyed their fuel lines. They're blind now," Marcus nodded. "Good. We don't strike their worlds. We break their pride first." General Liana Torres approached, her face serious. "They're begging for a ceasefire." Marcus's expression hardened. "Begging isn't enough. They wanted fear." "We'll give them understanding." Liana looked at him quietly. "And after that?" Marcus turned toward the stars. "After that, we build something better." In the outer colonies, humanity's rise became legend. Children whispered stories about the ghost fleets. Old veterans looked to the skies, proud once more. Every message sent from Earth carried one line: "The fire they started has returned." Back in the council hall, the speaker stood before a massive hologram. It showed the destruction, their fleets broken, their borders collapsing. An aide ran in, terrified. "Sir, the humans have sent a message." The speaker froze. "Put it through." The hologram flickered, revealing Marcus Hale's face. His voice was calm, controlled, the voice of a man who had seen both peace and war. "You accused us of crimes we didn't commit. You destroyed our honor, killed our people, and silenced the truth. You thought humanity would kneel. You were wrong." He leaned closer to the screen. "We are not your servants. We are not your subjects. We are the consequence of your arrogance." The screen went dark. The speaker stood in silence. Around him, the other councillors trembled. Outside the window, streaks of light filled the sky, the burning remains of their fleets re-entering the atmosphere. Far away, on the Leviathan, Marcus watched the flames of their warships fade into the void. He whispered softly to himself, "They wanted to see our fire. Now they will see what it means to burn." The stars reflected in his eyes, cold, endless, and human. The return of fire had begun. The Galactic Council was dying. Not by disease, not by invasion, but by the weight of its own lies. World after world was falling into chaos. Trade routes were broken, fleets were gone. And everywhere the same fear echoed through the stars. The humans have returned. On Vorith Prime, the heart of the Council, the once proud towers of silver now burned with orange light. Smoke drifted through the sky. The air was filled with sirens and panic. Inside the shattered Great Hall, the speaker stood among frightened councillors. His golden robes were torn, his voice hoarse. How could this happen? He shouted. We are the Council. We ruled this galaxy for centuries. A councillor trembled. Sir, it's the human fleets. They've destroyed our shipyards, our defense stations, even our orbital cannons. They know our codes. They know everything. The speaker's hands shook. Impossible. No one could have... He stopped as the chamber lights flickered. The holographic walls around them shimmered, and suddenly a face appeared. Calm, cold, human Admiral Marcus Hale. You wanted war, Marcus said softly. You wanted to show the galaxy humanity's weakness, but you showed them your own corruption instead. Turn it off. The speaker roared. The guards ran to the consoles, but the image stayed. The human's voice filled every speaker, every public broadcast, every device across Vorith Prime. We offered peace. You answered with fire. You destroyed our people and buried the truth. You feared humanity's strength. Now you will face it. Outside, the clouds split apart. From the sky descended the dark shape of the Leviathan, Earth's flagship. It moved silently, majestic and terrifying. Its black hull glowed with faint blue light, the mark of vengeance and unity. Panic filled the streets as smaller human ships appeared all around the planet. They didn't fire. They simply hovered, waiting. The speaker ran to the balcony, staring in disbelief. Why aren't they attacking? A young alien officer whispered, Maybe. They're giving us a chance. Inside the Leviathan, Marcus Hale watched the planet below. His officers stood silently around him. General Liana Torres stepped forward. The Council's defenses are down. We could finish this in minutes. Marcus said nothing for a long moment. His grey eyes were cold but full of thought. We could, he said finally. But destruction isn't the goal. Truth is, he turned to the communications officer. Send the transmission. The officer nodded and pressed a control pad. Across the galaxy, screens came alive again, from the smallest outpost to the grandest city. Marcus's voice echoed everywhere. To every world listening, the Galactic Council lied. They blamed humanity for the fall of Theris 7. But the truth was buried under their orders. The real attackers were the Zalari, the same species that led your fleets to war against us. A new image appeared, video data from the hidden crystal chip the alien guard had given Marcus months ago. It showed Commander Elena Rios and the Zalari ships destroying Theris 7. The proof was undeniable. Gasps filled the alien worlds. Millions of citizens watched the truth unfold, and their anger turned toward the Council. On Vorith Prime, chaos erupted. Crowds filled the streets, shouting for justice. The Council guards dropped their weapons. Some even joined the protests. Inside the Great Hall, the speaker fell to his knees. We only wanted control, he whispered. Marcus's voice, still echoing across the planet, replied, And control is what you've lost. Moments later, the Leviathan's engines roared. A blinding light shone from its underbelly. Not a weapon, but a message. It projected a beam of blue light across the capital, forming a massive hologram in the sky, the symbol of Earth, shining over the ruins of the Council. Marcus watched from the command deck as the Council towers crumbled under their own explosions. He whispered quietly, Let the old order fall. Liana stood beside him. And what rises after this? He looked at her, tired but determined. Something different. Something earned. By nightfall, the Galactic Council was gone. Its leaders either fled, surrendered, or vanished into the void. The galaxy that once laughed at humanity now looked to them for direction. Across 1,000 worlds, one message spread faster than light. The Council has fallen. Humanity stands. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. The stars outside were calm again. We didn't start this war, he said softly, but we finished it. He looked at the stars, billions of silent witnesses. May they remember not our wrath, but our resolve. The camera pulls back, showing the massive Leviathan drifting above the burning capital, silent, steady, and human. The fall of the Council had ended. But the story of what humanity would build next had just begun. The war was over. The Galactic Council, once proud, once powerful, was gone. Its grand cities now stood in ruins, silent under the cold light of distant suns. The symbols of domination had fallen, and in the empty space left behind, humanity began to rebuild, not only its worlds, but the meaning of peace itself. Months had passed since the Leviathan descended over Vorith Prime. The stars that once burned with war now glowed with quiet stillness. Across the galaxy, old enemies laid down their arms. Human ships no longer carried weapons in the open. They carried engineers, doctors, and supplies. On worlds scarred by the Council's cruelty, human aid fleets landed first, rebuilding hospitals, repairing power grids, and feeding the hungry. The galaxy watched in disbelief. "They destroyed the Council," one alien whispered, "and now they help us rebuild." Another replied, "Maybe. They don't want revenge. Maybe they just want peace. But peace always has a price." Admiral Marcus Hale stood in the observation deck of the Leviathan, watching a planet spin below, Theris 7, the same world the Council had used to start the war. Now it was alive again. The cities were being rebuilt by both humans and aliens together. The air shimmered with life and hope. General Liana Torres joined him quietly. "The reconstruction teams report progress," she said. "The radiation zones are almost cleared. The survivors have started new settlements." Marcus nodded. "Good. That planet deserves another chance." Liana looked at him. "So does humanity." He smiled faintly, though his eyes still held shadows. "Peace doesn't erase what we did. It only reminds us to do better next time." Far across the stars, former Council worlds formed a new alliance. They called it the Concord of Free Worlds, an alliance built on equality, not power, and they asked Earth to lead it. When the message reached the Leviathan, Marcus sat in silence for a long time. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship. Finally, he said, "We don't lead. We guide. We won't repeat their mistakes." Liana nodded. "The galaxy listens to you now, Marcus. Whatever you say will shape its future." He turned to the stars. "Then let them hear this." He activated the comm system. His voice spread across every world in the Concord. "To all species of the galaxy, the age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins. Humanity does not seek to rule. We seek to build a future where no one must fear another's shadow." He paused for a moment. "But know this, peace is not weakness. It is strength, earned through the fire of truth." His words echoed through the void, carried by light and hope. On Theris the 7th, a child, half human, half alien, looked up at the night sky. She saw a star burning bright and asked her mother, "Is that where the humans came from?" Her mother smiled softly. "Yes, and because of them, the stars are safe again." The child nodded. "Then maybe one day. I'll go there." But not everything was calm. In the farthest reaches of space and beyond known borders, where light itself struggled to travel, something ancient stirred, long before the Council, before even the first human ship left Earth. This force had slept, hidden in the black between galaxies. Now, awakened by the echoes of humanity's war, it began to move. A signal pulsed through the darkness, strange, deep and powerful. Inside the Leviathan, a technician frowned at his console. "Admiral, we're picking up an unknown energy signature. Coordinates. Outside mapped space." Marcus turned slowly. "Origin?" "Unclear. It's not Council, not Zalari, and not human." Liana looked uneasy. "Another threat?" Marcus stared at the dark window of space, the reflection of distant stars in his eyes. He spoke softly. "Maybe. Or maybe something older than any of us." The signal pulsed again, repeating a single word in an unknown language, but one that the translator barely caught. "Awakening." Marcus stood silently for a long moment. Then he said, "Prepare the fleet. Peace must be protected, even from the shadows." As the Leviathan turned toward the unknown, its engines burned like a small sun against the black void. Humanity had won its war. But the stars still whispered of new beginnings and new dangers waiting beyond them, because in the endless night of the galaxy, peace is never free. It is earned, protected, and carried by those who refuse to kneel. The camera pulls back one last time, showing the great ship gliding toward a distant light, its engines glowing blue, the mark of Earth shining proudly across its hull.